SteelSeries Rival 100. I've only had the mouse for a day, but I've given it 3 or 4 hours playtime, so while this is a bit of an impressions video, I think I've got enough to actually review it, and I'll review it again in the future. But because I've been asked so many times about this mouse, I thought I'd do a quick one so you actually know whether to buy it or not. Okay, here we go. First of all, when I first got this mouse, the mouse 5 was getting stuck in, but it's since loosened up and it's fine now. Still, that's a really awkward shape. I guess it looked really cool on the design when they were first making it, but I think that's just a bit too small and they should have just given it 2 more millimeters and it would have been fine. Actually 1 millimeter would have been fine. The one behind it, while very slim still, is much better. And also, listen, they're very loud. Here's a comparison with the top. They're not the worst side buttons ever or anything like that, they're just very noisy. The main buttons do feel pretty good. They're nothing too special, but they're nice to click in. You have a DPI button located in the center. And lastly, scroll wheel, mouse 3. Quite loud, not too hard to push in. However, that's pretty loud too. Have a listen. Here's a comparison with the Mamba. Rocket Cone, probably the best of the lot, and the ridiculous Logitech G303 or 302. What were they thinking? I don't know. SteelSeries have been getting some flack for the build quality, but this one is actually feeling quite solid. The textures on the side, it's just a plastic with a pattern. On top you have a really nice rubber texture. I absolutely love this material, I hope they put it on more mice. And the scroll wheel is a soft rubber, so while it is loud, it actually does feel good. Speaking of build quality though, have a listen to this. Probably doesn't sound too bad, right? But now I'll have a listen to the Rocket Cone. Rival 100 again. So the feet on the Rival 100, not good. The shape is very safe. There's only a slight inclination on either side. It's 5.5 centimeters at its thinnest part and 6.5 at the back. So this classes in more the small range, maybe medium, but it feels nice and easy to aim, and I haven't had any problems like, say, the Mamba, which has a really wide base, which is more like 6.5 centimeters there, or 7 at the back. So the Rival 100 is a thin base, just like the G303. That's why I'd class it more in the small range, but it is a bit wider, so I'd have to say it's medium. Although when you're holding it, because the G303 has such a wide back, it does feel very similar in size. Here's a top-down view with the Death Adder. You'll notice that the Death Adder is slightly longer, and the G303 on the right is a bit shorter. So this mouse is definitely in the mid-range. As far as height goes, the Death Adder is taller, but the G303 and Rival 100 are about the same. The Death Adder is quite high in the middle, whereas the Rival 100 keeps it fairly flat. It's more like the G303, except G303 is obviously higher at the back. When it comes to grip style, I almost think this is actually made for claw grip, because that wider back seems to be wanting to fit inside the palm. It would work for fingertip too. I'm a bit more of a palm gripper and it feels okay to me. Not completely comfortable, but not a deal breaker either. In the few hours I was actually playing a game with this, it felt pretty good. Like I wasn't worried about it being in my hand at all, even with palm grip. So just for reference, you have a huge side there that you can place your fingers on. Lots of room for your thumb. I don't think your thumb is going to touch the buttons at all unless you want to. And this is what it looks like from underneath. And that's what makes this a safe shape, because there's just so much room for your fingers on either side that it shouldn't be a problem. I haven't played with the software too much. It seems pretty basic, although a bit confusing at the same time. It's got record, so you can set macro. So I don't really like the way they've set this up. I mean, you can change the button to media button, and then you select one of these. Most mouse software seems a bit simpler than this. I mean, I know this is basic, but just the way they've gone about it seems a bit unnecessary. You can change color down here, and you can set color shift, steady or breathe. Let's go color shift. We'll just set it to purple, and so that's now going to cycle through the colors. That's actually blue now. The camera's not picking up the colors very well, but they look good in real life. Going back to the color shift, I don't know how to actually add more options. It looks like they've just given you some defaults and that's what you got to use. Next we have the Cpi Stages. So it starts at 250, goes to 500, 1000, 1250, 1750, 2000, 4000. And you can't just drag that around. They are DPI stages or CPI stages. And I think you can only have 2 sensitivities. And just quickly, you have acceleration, deceleration, angle snapping, so that'll make it a straight line. So now I'll draw really straight lines with the mouse. Polling rate, just leave it at 1000, but you can go 500, 250, 125. In game it feels pretty good, throwing the mouse around a lot because there are a lot of players around, but it's good because it allows me to really test the mouse. And I found that I could track well, I could sniper well, I could use projectiles well. Everything was good, but again, not great. And that seems to be my favorite expression when describing this mouse. It is good, but not great. That said, I was able to hit some pretty cool shots. There's a mid-air rocket, bounce, bounce, and another mid-air. So I was comfortable enough. It just wasn't amazing, like nothing like the EC2A, which really blew my mind when it came to aim, but otherwise still a very solid performance. And I felt like I could hold my own with it, so I wasn't afraid to aim, and I still hit some cool shots like that mid-air rocket just there. So if I had to use this mouse competitively, I'd be okay with that because it was solid, and I didn't feel like I was going to miss because of the mouse. If I missed, it was mainly my fault. And amazingly, even the feet weren't that big a deal while I was actually playing. Now let's get into some rocket jumping to test the sensor out. So these are just high-speed flicks. If I can do this with the mouse, I'm usually pretty safe, like I'll be happy with it. Can I get through? Yes. Good. And it's not spitting out at all. Currently got it at 4000 DPI or CPI. And yeah, it feels really nice. Perfectly able to ninja around with this mouse. Oh, I didn't make the jump. Now let's do the same at 500 CPI. Yeah, it feels good. Just quickly try to make it spin out. Nope, sensor feels good to me. It's a test to see if it can track precise movements. This is at 4000. The sensor actually seems quite good. I know it's not the top one, but it's good enough. I can't really find a fault in it other than the software not allowing me to change the CPI to what I wanted to. So I saw some people are doing CD tests to track the actual liftoff distance. And you can see it's tracking okay. Not too bad at 1 DVD, I should say, not CD. If we put 2 there, we're not getting anything. So the liftoff distance is quite low. And lastly, the line test, I did adjust the Windows sensitivity down 1. Even though it's at 4000 rather than 3200 or 3500, it should still be about right. Even so, this is just to test jitter. The lines are fairly straight, it's just human error, so not a problem, no jitter, the sensor is fine in that regard. So in conclusion, this mouse is good, but not great. I mean, it's a solid mouse and it's a good addition to the market. However, I'm still not quite sure where it fits, but I'm sure there will be people out there who really appreciate the shape and it'll feel good to them. Personally, even though the sensor isn't quite as good in the Rapoo V300, it's still my mouse of preference, and especially with these really nice grooves in the buttons. However, if I'm playing competitively, I still choose the Zowie EC2A. This mouse is amazing for competitive play. That's expensive though, at least this one is a bit cheaper. So if you're after a slightly cheaper option and a different feel in the hand, then this could be right for you. So I hope that helps. If you do want to buy this mouse, I'll leave an Amazon link in the description for you. And if you can, please subscribe because that helps the channel grow, and also hit like because that'll help the video come up in search results better. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Until then, I'll catch you in the next video.